I guess whatever I don't get.
So he goes first, basically, is what he's saying. Oh, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Color Entertainment. This is Matt.
This is Juice.
And it's Side Chick Friday!
Side Chick Friday! We apologize for the wait, but we're back.
Shit's been happening.
Yes, shit has happened. And we are back with episode 24?
25.
Episode 25!
We are a quarter of a century deep.
It's whatever a century is what it is?
Quarter of 100 episodes
Yeah, let's go with that, yeah.
We're a quarter of
a century.
We're not 25 years in.
Yeah, we're only
25. No, the century mark.
Yeah, years.
The century mark is 100 anything.
No, century is the
We are technically, I guess, we'll call this the season finale of season 1 of The Wheel. I don't know, it's episode 25. Most seasons now go 22, 23.
They go less than that, but we're
the most show
traditionally.
Yeah, traditionally
it is the fall to spring season will be 26 seasons.
Okay, I mean, yeah, so we're okay.
Not accounting for like reruns.
Well, I mean, we started in what, March?
I don't remember when we started.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's 25 episodes.
Yeah.
And we've taken weeks off.
Yeah, we have.
Hi, Hadari.
Yeah, so
woo!
Whatever. Point is, this is episode 25 of The Wheel.
Yay!
We are back, and I say we got an interesting one today.
Yes, we do.
There's gonna be some stuff to be said.
Yes.
But today, on episode 25, we have watched the 1991 classic, Robin Hood. Many times. No, I'm kidding. Prince of Thieves. The IMDb synopsis reads: Robin Hood decides to fight back as an outlaw when faced with the tyranny of the Sheriff of Nottingham. That is it.
Yes.
Okay.
This movie was directed by Kevin Reynolds, written by Penn Densham.
What else has Kevin Reynolds done?
So he did the Count of Monte Cristo, Waterworld,
another Kevin Costner movie,
and Fandango, and I guess he actually also directed a scene in Dancing with Wolves, but he didn't actually necessarily direct Dancing with Wolves.
Okay, continue.
Written by Penn.
Oh, Red Dawn. He also did Red Dawn.
Thank you. Written by Penn Densham and John Watson, starring Kevin Costner as the titular Robin Hood, Prince of the Thieves.
Yep.
Morgan Freeman as God. I'm kidding. As Azim. Mary Elizabeth Master Antonio, I believe is how it's
Master Antonio.
Master Antonio, yes, because it's cut off further down as Maid Marian of Dubois. Christian Slater as Will Scarlet. The late, great, wonderful Alan Rickman as George the Sheriff of Nottingham.
The Alan Idgaff Rickman, yes.
Oh!
Please turn your pages.
You were actually incorrect. It was not Maggie Smith.
The fuck are you talking about?
It was Geraldine McEwen as Mortiana.
No, the fuck it's not.
According to IMDb.
No fucking way.
Ooh.
I call bullshit. I call
Was
bullshit.
Ari wrong
It is
about
possible.
this movie?
And I'm not gonna continue to go down the list. I will leave it there. The only other notable name for me personally was Michael McShane as Friar Tuck, because he was in the first Richie Rich with Macaulay Culkin as Professor Keen Bean. Okay, so
That looks a fucking lot like her. I always thought it was her.
It wasn't.
It looks like
the makeup crew did a really good
yeah,
fucking
they
job.
did. Like,
But
seriously?
but 1991 is the year before Maggie Smith did Sister Act, isn't it?
Sister Act or Hook, one or the other. I might around the same time.
Hook.
Honestly.
Oh, that's right. Wait.
Yeah.
Oh, she plays old Granny Wendy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. Okay, back to Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It has 16 wins.
Mandela effect. I call it Mandela effect. I swear.
It's possible. 16 wins, 24 nominations. It was nominated for an Oscar in 1992 for Best Music Original Song for Everything I Do by Bryan Adams.
Yes.
It won a Saturn for Best Fantasy Film. No, I'm sorry. It was nominated for a Saturn in 1992 for Best Fantasy. Kevin Costner was nominated Best Actor. Alan Rickman was nominated Best Supporting Actor. Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio was nominated Best Supporting Actress. John Bloomfield was nominated for Best Costumes. It did, however, win. Excuse me, I just had it. It did win an ACE-CAP award for Most Performed Songs from Motion Pictures for Everything I Do.
That was on a Grammy, didn't it?
A
couple of Grammys.
Yes.
No. Songs. Best pop instrumental.
It was nominated. It was nominated for a Grammy for Best Instrumental Composition written for a motion picture or television. But yes, Everything I Do did win a Grammy for Best Song written specifically for a motion picture or for television. Oh, and
well, as Best Pop Instrumental Performance.
And yes,
probably derived from the Everything I Do song.
Correct. However, Alan Rickman won British Actor of the Year from the London Critics Circle Film Awards.
He won an
ALF.
For that one.
For this?
For this.
He won for a few things.
He won an ALF for this, yes.
Yeah.
Shared with Close My Eyes, Truly Madly Deeply, and Quigley Down Under.
He did a bunch of shit that year, and they basically just, gave him the award. Because it's Alan goddamn Rickman.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so, some other things about the movie. In August of '89, Penn Densham began a new treatment of Robin Hood. He did not want to make an Errol Flynn-style devil-may-care adventurer, made famous by the 1938 Adventures of Robin Hood, but much rather imagined Robin as a rich kid, transformed into a socially conscious rebel by the imprisonment in Jerusalem during the Crusades. Wrote a 92-page outline, which was then rewritten by John Watson. February of 1990, Morgan Creek, who produced Young Guns, Major League, saw gold on the page and immediately funded the film.
Because it's Young Guns in medieval England.
Yes. Kevin Reynolds directed Kevin Costner in the past, including the buffalo scene in Dances with Wolves. Reynolds said, "I'd done 2 pictures that hadn't made a dime, so I kind of knew the studio wanted me for Robin Hood because of my connections with Kevin." Indeed, Costner had already rejected the script until hearing that Reynolds was directing. "I felt Kevin was such a good filmmaker. I would do it." Let's see. For the role of King Richard, John Cleese was proposed, but Sean Connery had portrayed Robin Hood in Robin and Marian in 1976. Was selected as at the passionate behest of Costner and Densham. Fearing that the sudden cameo of a notorious comedic icon would destroy the drama, Densham recalls,
which is absolutely true.
"I so wanted to not have John Cleese that I said, 'Would you give me Sean Connery?' We can't give him a credit because you can't have the audience waiting for the whole movie to see him, but he only has to work one day." Connery, with the project already over budget, Connery agreed to reduce his requested $1 million fee down to a $250,000 donation to a hospital in Connery's native Scotland. In 2015, Alan Rickman said he had secretly asked his scriptwriter friends Ruby Wax and Peter Barnes to punch up the script. Will you have a look at the script because it's terrible and I need some good lines?" Reynolds agreed to add the suggested new lines. And then I'm sure there's more. There's a bunch more. So let's move on.
Okay.
I'm
sure I can find more later on, but yeah, let's move on.
Well, so I'm gonna add into that real quick that part of the issue with when they were creating this film, which may factor into some of the issues that we're gonna have with it when we try to review it, is that they had a very incredibly stupid tight window for actually filming this movie between Costner's incredibly explosive time frame because he's doing Dance with Wolves, Robin Hood, JFK, and probably God knows what else in this time frame.
No Way Out.
The weather, the weather is awful. They're doing it underneath an airport or whatever, flying overhead. And so it's just they had 10 weeks to do it, and then all this other shit is happening, and it's just it's just the best you fucking
Bodyguard.
Did that happen around the same time? Is that 92? Oh shit, that's 92.
But still, it's 92. That's right after this. So
yeah.
Right now, Kevin Costner is in a back-to-back schedule.
No, yeah, he's high.
He's on fire. He's on fire.
So I think Juice probably got most of it. The one thing I wanted to point out, though, with regards to before we actually start reviewing this, is that Rotten Tomatoes gave this film about 51% based on critic reviews.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
However, and I was looking at it just a second ago, the audience score is 72%. Metacritic has it also rated 51 out of 100 based on critics, but audiences on Cinema Score gave it an average grade of A out of A+ to F. So what that says is the audience, much like me, said, yeah, we know, fuck you, we don't care.
Something that's interesting that's on there as well, the critical consensus reads, and I believe this is for Rotten Tomatoes, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves brings a wonderfully villainous Alan Rickman to this off-adapted tale, but he's robbed by a big-budget bombast and a muddled screenplay.
Because part of it was also there is some pacing issues. I would give you that for the movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As obviously, one of the things the critics they have on here, we're not going to go into them deeply, is basically the inconsistent accents and all that stuff. But literally, the audience is yeah, we know. So
okay.
Because they went from it was a $48 million budget, $48 to $60 million budget for a box office draw of $390 million. So that's almost 10 times what they actually spent. At best, maybe 7, 6, 7.
And Donald Trump won the popular vote.
Fuck you for that. I love you. Fuck you for that.
I was debating whether I should say it out loud. Content. Anyway, but I'm not wrong.
Now, in regards and also in regards to the budget, it was the second highest grossing film of 1991.
The highest.
Second highest.
None of the highest being
one of my favorite fucking movies. It is on the wheel. Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Nice.
Yeah.
So
that was the other thing I wanted to actually point out. Thank you for pointing it out, Juice.
Are we getting to initial reactions?
Yes.
Okay, do you guys want to go first?
I would love to.
Go first?
Ari, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right, actually, a list.
Jeez, we're not on good, bad, ugly yet. Just initial, a brief synopsis.
I'll try my best. This movie has everything. Period costumes, horses, music, poor white people fighting rich white people for their abilities to subsist, a star-studded cast, childbirth, race relations, swashbuckling, tree houses, shanties, archery, unnecessary false hopes. Alan Rickman, and I thought he's been on screen for what is sure to never happen again. Witchcraft, castles, waterfalls, life debts, surprise siblings, incarcerated torture, heist-like climaxes, explosions, the fucking voice of God inspiring everyone to rebel, overdramatic death scenes, fight choreography, surprise celebrity cameos, and Deus Ex Machina, finally, drunk clergy. Yes, this movie has goddamn everything.
You forgot one thing.
I'm sure I forgot something. I threw as much as I could in there.
But the one thing you forgot.
Which is?
Kevin Costner's bare ass.
Oh, shit. You're right. I absolutely should ask that. Kevin Costner's bare ass. I said celebrity, star-studded cast.
You said.
I missed that part.
Yeah, well, you say star-studded cast, but you miss.
He gets his own credit.
So, Strange added in. Because, as we know, it's only justice when it's poor white people fighting for rights.
The ability to subsist. Not even exist, not even to thrive, not even to become, part of the upper crust. Just to subsist.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, they're not trying to thwart the king. They're trying to help the king.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, it just gave me a whole new tunnel to go down to rip this movie to shreds.
I was thinking about watching, when I was watching the movie, I couldn't think of what it is. I'm sure if I got time, I can think of it. But those TikToks talk about, basically describing a movie poorly. Hey, do you want to watch a movie that What movie are you?
Time.
Newt did it.
Alright, I think we're good.
Alright.
Hi, Ed.
What's up, Ed?
We are reviewing 1991 Kevin Costner's Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and I'm about to go ham.
I was just saying.
No, I'm gonna wait y'all go.
Last thing I was gonna say was that it reminds me of one of those like TikToks where it's like, you wanna watch that one movie that does this awful fucking thing? And you're like, God, what fucking movie is that? Oh, it's American Tail or something like that. Something like really innocuous that you don't think of, and like, oh, that's what that is. Oh shit, you're right. It is exactly what that movie is. And I feel like there's a way to do that for this movie because yes, we're basically fighting for the right to live under a monarchy.
Uh-huh.
So, just not that monarchy.
Mm-hmm. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with Kevin Costner.
From 1991.
And Alan Rickman.
Not the good.
And Morgan Freeman.
But yes, it's not the good one.
Right,
beg to differ.
Your initial reactions, you said we have now had her rant.
Yes, I agree with a lot of what Ari said. Not so much into detail that I thought about it that way, but this was fun. This was a nice trip down memory lane. I have not seen this movie in almost 30 years, which is ridiculous.
That movie sucked.
With all due respect, I want you to understand that my first initial gut reaction was to just scream out, "Fuck you." But I appreciate your comments and your input, so by all means, continue.
Okay, go ahead, Juice.
Yes, wave of nostalgia. This was fun. I forgot how detailed this movie is. I don't have a lot of issues with the movie personally, with the exception of maybe a couple things. But this was a nice refresher for me for if and when I choose to watch it again, because now I need to go wash myself of this with Robin Hood.
Yes.
Men in Tights.
I sincerely beg to differ. But to Edward's point, to be fair, I will not get over it. It did not suck. Fuck you.
No.
And also, we said there's too many Robin Hood movies came out, but it's like the first one in like 6 centuries.
Yeah.
Or it's like 6 decades or whatever. So there's a bunch of other ones that came out because this one was so fucking successful.
Well, so after this, we got.
No, I'm reacting to the commentary.
So immediately after this, we would get Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I don't think there was a Robin Hood TV show, but I could be wrong. Then we got the Taron Egerton. No, we got the
Can't go with you there, Ed.
We got the Russell Crowe Robin Hood,
which I really dislike.
That was terrible.
I haven't seen it, so
boring.
And then Taron Egerton recently got a Robin Hood.
I think there was the Netflix version at some point somewhere in
there.
there.
And after that, that's pretty much all the other Robin Hoods I could think of after this movie.
The same thing that happened after Pirates came out, where it was Pirates is suddenly successful, and everyone was like, we should do pirate shit. After it wasn't successful for so long, suddenly they found a formula that worked, and everyone's like, oh, pirates are good again. And then we got Black Sails, we got a bunch of other stuff that came out after that. Same thing with Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings. Everyone's like, oh, we're gonna do fantasy, medieval fantasy, or whatever the fuck. And we're like, yeah, but you guys aren't doing it right.
I guess as much as I love this movie,
that's fair.
As much as I like this movie and I love the nostalgia for me of it, it's muddled by my admiration for Men in Tights.
Yeah,
I'm so busy seeing the scenes in Men in Tights that are playing as this movie's happening, because I'm just waiting for when he lands in England and he kisses the ground, and I'm just waiting for I'm home, kisses the ground with the giant sign of England on the hill, like the Hollywood sign. Don't beat yourself, sis, Kevin.
In the comments.
But yeah, no, this was fun. I had fun. Go ahead, Matt.
All right. Well, they kind of said it in the worst possible way, but let's touch on that. Yes, this movie does have everything. It has too goddamn much. The movie drags at multiple points. Okay. It's like, God, is this over yet? Okay. Why are we not at the end yet?
Well,
there is so much unnecessary bullshit, especially slow motion, CG enhanced I have a camera on top of an arrow shots that are completely useless to the narrative of the film.
This was 91. I doubt
I
it
am
was CG enhanced.
speaking!
I understand. I'm also just clarifying. I doubt it was CG enhanced.
Whatever it was garbage.
It was enhanced, sure.
Yes! Thank you, Edward. Definitely, yes. A sneeze.
Now. Wasn't it Achu?
No, Achu was Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Anyway.
We did! We actually did! We just got finished doing it!
I actually enjoyed Red 1 much more than this movie.
I fell asleep, but I was drunk, and that's my
But yes.
I thoroughly enjoyed Red 1.
Ari
for what I saw.
is right. This movie has everything that's too goddamn much. On top of that, this mythos is problematic in nature, and coming from someone who's been taught about being problematic, it shocks me that you just love this movie. Because this is pretty much Zorro. I think we made that comparison.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a nobleman
Yep.
who, granted, Robin Hood at least loses his nobility
Yeah.
before he decides to rally the peasants to fight for the injustice after he's lost his riches. Whereas Zorro is still rich and convincing the peasants to fight and not giving up his riches. It's still all about the rich savior for the poor and how we should look up to our rich superiors for guidance. Fuck all that, first of all.
Okay.
Well, okay, what? Man, the rich do not make you smarter. Do you know how many rich, stupid people there are? We watch Siesta Kate.
Okay, sweetheart, I need you to stop watching the NFL then.
Damn.
What does that have to do with anything?
Rich people that we're doing for entertainment, and that's it? We're not gonna. We should stop watching them then.
No.
They make millions of dollars per fucking game.
That's entertainment. They're not convincing me to overthrow the government for their benefit.
They're convincing me to ignore the shit that's happening in front of me. Or we're not gonna go into Kevin Kaepernick or anything like that. Sorry, I forget the actual name. I'm drunk.
Kaepernick.
Yeah.
And you're just jumping down my throat with a very bad analogy, actually. So I think we need to slow down on the drinking a little bit.
No.
Because I don't think that's a very good comparison.
I feel like
yes, entertainment is made to distract us, but that is, again, you don't blame the players, you blame the higher ups.
Then we're gonna blame the higher ups. They're the ones trying to convince us to watch the NFL to forget about all the shit that they're doing to try to keep us down because we're watching that instead of watching the planet burning in front of us.
Well, we can go deeper into that if you want, but we're talking about a movie here today.
I'm saying you brought the point.
I bring up the point that the story is problematic, and you are the one who likes to point out when movies I like are problematic. This movie is no better than Crimson Tide. This movie is no better than Armageddon. This movie is no better than all the cheeseball B-rated great fucking movies that I love that you love to rip apart. So I'm gonna go ham on it. And you know what? One of my favorite swashbuckling stupid period pieces of all time, The Man in the Iron Mask. What is your argument about the Man in the Iron Mask? What is your argument about the Man in the Iron Mask and why you think it sucks?
One of the arguments
But what is it?
Is because of the accents, yes.
No! Speak up and project.
I did.
I do not believe you did.
Because you're screaming over me.
Okay.
I said multiple times. One of the arguments I have against that movie. Because it's not just that. It is several. But one of the reasons I have against that movie is because of the inconsistent accents from the multiple actors, yes.
And yet, in this movie, you have Morgan Freeman doing one accent, Alan Rickman doing another accent,
Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio doing another accent.
They're both British, and he's going to be playing some of
and Kevin Costner is literally talking like Kevin fucking Costner.
No, his accent is an issue.
And then at times he tries to throw it in. Like when he's skipping on a fucking stone wall talking to Kazim about his lady friend.
Are we doing it bad right now, or are we just doing our first impressions?
I'm doing my first impressions, but I'm talking about how the injustice in our film reviews and how you are biased towards films of your youth and criticize films of my youth for the same reason the films of your youth suck.
That's interesting.
But my biggest problem is that this movie fucking drags.
Okay. Are we talking about that's?
We can get into the good, bad, and ugly.
Do you have any good at this point? Since you went all over your bad already.
I absolutely.
So why don't you go first?
What? Okay, are you going to be hostile the rest of the stream, or
the rest of it?
Oh, okay. It's gonna be a Matt and Ari argument episode.
Kind of. Hi, Strange. I'm just
12th century editor.
I'm just over here in my little corner, just chilling. Just
Kevin sounded like a cowboy teleported to the 13th century.
Yeah, I know. I don't care.
Okay, so Matt.
Am I starting with the
Yes, go ahead.
Would you please?
There are some genuinely entertaining laugh out loud moments in this movie. There are some genuinely entertaining performances. I will never, and as you noticed, I did not say one negative thing about Sir Alan Rickman.
No.
He is amazing.
He's a
in
gem.
Everything he does, and he will cut your heart out with a spoon.
You enunciate.
I know, I can't do Rickman. I can't do Rickman that well. Alan Rickman is easily the best part of this movie.
Oh my god, yes.
Because he takes a badly written, cheesy movie and acts it out badly.
Mm-hmm.
And overly cheesy.
Yes.
And I love it.
And it's magical.
It is.
And if every actor would have done that instead of the entire it says some of them doing it serious and some of them doing it cheesy.
No, if everyone's doing it over the top, it would have been too much.
Huh?
Everyone's doing it over the top, it would have been too much.
It would have been Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Exactly. I don't want Men in Tights.
Which was,
so,
in my opinion, still a better movie.
So Alan
Not
Rickman,
a better film, but it's a better movie.
Alan Rickman, first good.
Yes.
Yes.
Universally. There are some genuinely heartfelt scenes in the twist. Actually got me again. I've seen this movie 10 to 15 times. And I completely forgot about the twist. And it did hit. It still hit. So I will give them that. So that was decent. The fight between Robin Hood and Little John is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's iconic. Yeah, I think that's it.
Would you like to go? Because I have a lot to say.
I'm pretty sure you do. You have it well detailed. I'm just going off the top of my head. I think it's beautifully shot for the most part. Everything after we leave is Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Everything after we leave Jerusalem is beautifully shot. The dungeon is well shot. It's just as soon as they come up from the sewer, which I'm like, did they have sewers?
Yeah.
But
they had
irrigation.
I'm sure they did.
Yeah, it was.
They had it in like fucking
Zealand.
It wasn't as widespread. It was a city.
It looked weird. Just them coming out of the sewer in the middle of the sand. I know.
The set pieces for Jerusalem were fucking
weird. Definitely just horrible. And then the night sky. You could.
No, I felt like that shit was like tacked on.
That's
like the last thing they fucking shot.
So yes, everything before we come up for air in Jerusalem and everything afterwards is beautifully shot. Alan Rickman is the star of this movie, not Kevin Costner. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's true.
He is wonderful. He is a gem. He helps. He makes this movie for the most part
way more entertaining.
Yes, thank you. I was gonna say tolerable, but entertaining is a better word. Most of the performances are great, and by most I mean Alan Rickman, Morgan Freeman. Thank you. I was just gonna say God. Morgan Freeman, Mary Elizabeth,
Briar Talk.
Yeah, Michael McShane. Michael McShane is he's the other great gem in this movie.
Good ass weed.
Michael McShane.
We might need some over here by the time this
Mary Elizabeth Master Antonio does very well as well. Basically the majority of the cast. Yeah. Kevin Costner's fine. It's the accent for me. And I felt there was really good chemistry with the cast. I think that's kind of where I'm gonna leave it at. I mean, there were great set pieces. There was a lot to do. Beautiful settings in Sherwood Forest.
Yeah, they talk about a bunch where they shot
on location.
Yeah.
So it's very well done.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna leave it at that. Ari.
Awesome.
With your list.
So,
click.
I have a lot. So I'm just gonna travel back for a second.
Sure.
I don't remember when I saw this movie the first time. I knew it was after it came out, but it was probably before I saw a bunch of the other films that I would end up seeing a lot of the actors who were in it in. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't see Die Hard, so I was grown.
Same.
And this movie came out when I was like probably 10 or 11 or 12 or whatever. So I was a kid when it came out. Mm-hmm. But I remember when it came out, and it was this mass, like everyone was like, oh my god, this movie like is a box office smash. But I saw Type Terminator that year. I didn't see this in the theaters. And everyone was like, oh, Kevin Costner is like, you know, a heartthrob. Like, I guess he's 20 years older than me. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. So, I don't know who any of these people are. Thank you, Ed. I don't know who any of these people are. I'm going to take that as a compliment because I don't think it is. Because you do the math, I'm actually not. But that's fine.
She says that she oogles a bunch of 22-year-old actors nowadays.
Who are you talking about?
Michael B. Jordan.
I don't ogle him.
You have googled him.
Not really, no.
Okay, you have.
No,
Chris
Hemsworth?
Ooh, or my personal favorite, Jason Momoa.
Okay.
Roman Reigns.
They're all in their 30s, I will have you know.
Now!
Like my age now! Yeah, and I was in my 30s when I was ogling them. It's more
I don't
my
think
age
they
range.
were 100. They were in
no,
their 30s.
Danny, what's his face, is the only one who's probably...
Who?
Garcia.
Oh, yeah! Don't forget about your cougar moment you're having right now with the 19-year-old.
He's not 19, he's 25.
Yeah, okay.
He's 25 by now.
Okay, 25.
Okay, whatever. You're not gonna talk about that. Anyway, what we were talking about was my bid for this fucking movie. And the point is that this is the first movie I've seen with Alan Rickman, Kevin Costner, and Morgan Freeman. And apparently not Maggie Smith. I really thought it was her, but never mind. Mm-hmm. But this is the first one I've seen with those people in it. I don't remember anyone. Oh, Christian Slater. Mm-hmm. So I know who these people are at this point when these movies are coming out. Except for Morgan Freeman. I don't know if I knew who he was. I'm not really sure I knew who Alan Rickman was at that point, but I definitely knew who Kevin Costner was, and I definitely knew who the Christian Slater was. I just hadn't seen anything with them. And the first time I saw the movie, I was watching it towards the end. And, like, because you're watching it on HBO, where the fuck it just comes on. And that's my good, actually. One of my goods is the fucking third act. Is basically from the rebellion part.
Cougar moment, what 6th grader thinks you're cute? His name's Danny Garcia. Look him up.
Daniel Garcia.
Yes.
I'm not going to talk about that right now.
AEW.
Yeah.
The point is that the third act is one of my goods. Because everything from, like, the moment where he stabs the like, model, you know, whatever, diorama with the knife, and, like, this is where you're going to be at feminism, you're going to be here. And then after that, it's just, like, this heist moment where they're all, like, where all the pieces are moving together, and then, of course, something goes wrong because it always fucking goes wrong. Yeah. And then, like, you have, like, this climax, we're trying to save the kid, we're trying to save everybody else. We have, like, the giant, like, fireball in the background, like, explosions, and we're saving the episode of this rest. She has that fucking ear-piercing, heart-wrenching scream when she realizes her love of her life is alive still, and when she's begging for help. And then, of course, the fight scene afterwards, when they're, like, you know, trying to fight for her love or whatever, and then Alan Rickman's over the top, over dramatic death scene, which is, I eat all of it up. I don't care what. Like, all of that is so much fun. And here's 30 more pieces of silver to pay the devil on your way to hell, and pushes him out the window. And then one of the most satisfying deaths, you said it, in the entire movie is when they finally kill, like, that one, like, incredibly corrupt, like, clergyman. And I'm like, I love that whole part. That the third act I can watch from start to finish. You can drop me in the middle of it. I won't give a fuck. It's not my great, because Alan Rickman is my great. I was gonna, like, spoiler alert. But that part is absolutely one of my favorite parts of the entire movie. The pacing, we'll get into the bad later. But that part flows so goddamn well to me. Other goods. The scenery, the set pieces we talked about is just gorgeous. The overall musical motif behind it of that very enchanting, very, very noticeable and recognizable song of everything I do from Bryan Adams in the background. It kind of like weaves them in between everything, almost like a tapestry.
I never really noticed the song in the movie.
I did a couple times.
Several times.
It's hidden in different instruments.
Okay.
It's not played like the radio version of the song.
No, of course not.
There's other instruments going in the...
Gotcha, because I'm
when he's first sending her away with Duncan after she finds the camp, and he's talking to her on the banks, and she's like, I won't do it for my king, I'll do it for you. Like, that whole scene has that song playing in its background.
So sweet, her savior. By the way, she needs a white man to save her at the end.
It's a 90s, like, swashbuckler. Of course she's dancing under stress. And it's in America, so of course it's headed by white guys.
We're okay with tropes as long as you like the movie.
No, I'm also looking at the movie based on when it's being made.
Okay, alright.
So, like, some of it, I mean, like, problematic, and we know this is always going to be part of the ugly, but then it's all like, I know. What else?
Okay.
But so, and I honestly, like, her character's probably one of the weakest parts to me, which sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's, again, getting back to my bad. My good is, I know that everyone is giving Kevin Costner shit for this film.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I know.
Especially after seeing him as fucking John Dutton or any of the other fantastic times he's done something.
Or the Academy Award he won before this film for Dance with Wolves.
Well, I feel like that's more political because that's another one of his bad performances.
I disagree. I
can't
disagree.
stand that movie.
I can't say
be prepared because I believe it's on my list.
No, that's fine. I'll go in on it then too.
I love that movie except for one scene, which is why I can't watch it. But no, I actually give a lot of credit to Kevin Costner because I think one of the things they talked about was like he's like, I'm not doing this film, and then he found out Kevin Reynolds was attached to it. And he's like, oh, I'll fucking do this film. Yeah. Like that's literally what it was. Like, nah, I'm good. And then he found out like one of his favorite directors was doing it. And he was like, oh yeah, no, I'll fucking do it. And the only reason why they got that guy to do it is because they knew Kevin Costner would do it if he was attached.
But then he wanted to do the accent, and the director that he loved so much didn't want him to do the accent.
Yeah, there's like this is not working. You probably shouldn't try anymore. Like, just like
stay here, my fair maiden. I'll handle these ruffians.
It's also 10 weeks to try and shoot all this shit with a state. Like you're not gonna get this at that time, dude. Fuck it, whatever. We're losing the daylight. Let's go. And so like I think that he had fun doing this film. And that's it. That's one of the reasons why I appreciate his performance. That yes, the accent, again, $48 million to make it, $390 million for the box office. People don't fucking care about the accent. And while I get you, I fucking get you. You're right. I know. We're having this argument. I swear to God.
So
but my point is that at some point at the end of the day, like yes, I know he is talking gibberish. But he looks so confident in saying it, and he's so pretty, and everything else is going around, shiny keys, it's fine, I don't care, keep lying to me. That's literally what we all said, we're like, yeah, that's weird, but look at this explosion. I know, I have reamed many a movie for the same bullshit. Mm-hmm. I am not saying that it is necessarily a better film. I know it's not. I know it's better than a lot of films. In terms of execution, in terms of the acting and the direction, I think that it does a better job than a lot of films. Script, maybe not so much. But in general, though, there is a wholesome fun that comes from watching and the performances. Because they seem to really enjoy what they're doing. And that's enough for me.
Yeah, my dear. The thirst. Yes, motherfucker, I'm thirsty.
And now I'm done.
So bad. This one, I have a lot to say, right. So...
Real quick bit of trivia as far as the comment you made about making all that money. In 2012, Kevin Costner sued the producers of this movie over unpaid profits.
Ooh.
He also alleged that Morgan Creek gave distribution rights to an international subsidiary, which was in breach of its agreement with him.
Doesn't surprise me.
So. Okay. Now the bad.
I'm just going to go first for this one.
Okay. So the bad for me is the pacing in the second act.
I'll go first this one. Never mind.
No, for me the pacing in the second act really drags. There is definitely a lot going on. I feel like they could have cut some of the thievery. I really like. I love the training montage. I'm gonna just throw it out there now. That to me, like his speech and the training montage is my great for this movie. It's just I love a good training montage, but that
you gotta right.
Yeah, but also the speech he gives that we gotta stand up for ourselves. We take it back. We fight as free men. That's right. By God, we take it back. And then you go into the training montage. It's great, but then it's like everything that kind of comes after that just kind of stretches it along. The birth of the baby, great, but was it? I mean, I guess it was necessary in the fact that it redeems Azim in Friar Tuck's eyes. Yeah. That's the purpose of it. But there's just a lot of moments in the second act. I can't specifically narrow everything down, but the second act could have been cut maybe 5 minutes, maybe or so, because I feel like that's where it dragged the most for me. Or you could cut a little from the second and a little from the first. Okay. So that's that. We're gonna go back to the accents because there's a lot of different accents going on. The only one I'm going to exclude is going to be Sean Connery because Sean Connery just gets a cameo, so it's fine. But Kevin Costner is obviously doing an American accent. We know for what reasons. Alan Rickman is British, so he's good. I don't have a problem with Morgan Freeman's accent because he's meant to be.
And he's consistent with it.
Yeah, and he's consistent with it. It's Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio where I was kind of lost because it sounded like I know she's at least it says that she's British or at least I read that her and Alan Rickman were neighbors during the filming of the movie, but her accent to me comes off more as like Irish or American.
She was born in Lombard. DuPage County.
Oh. Well, there we go.
She was raised in Oak Park, Illinois. And
there we go.
At University of Illinois.
So there's another one. So you have two actors essentially with an American accent in a British film, in a British setting film. I would have at least expected her to have more of an accent, but like no, then that just kind of threw me off there. The
script. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Does Morgan Freeman play a Middle Eastern guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean the Moors. Basically, yeah.
Are the Moors African?
Yeah, actually, they're from like Algeria or something like that.
I don't know the geography. I'm asking an actual question.
So Christian Europeans use the term Moors to describe Muslim populations in North Africa, the Iberian Peninsula, Sicily, and Malta. And so there are mixed Arab, Spanish, and Mazig, Berber, whatever that is.
Mazig.
Descent.
Yeah. So again, he's fine.
Yeah.
But then you got two English characters, British characters with American accents that kind of just throws everything else off. The script, you guys mentioned it's not a great script, at least Alan Rickman says it's not a great script. I think I'm good there.
Oh, and that one
there's some cuts. There's some cuts during certain moments of the film where it didn't work for me personally. I can't name them again, but they were definitely trying some things with camera angles, especially using either like the fish lens or that first person camera angle during the initial meeting of Robin and Marion, it felt a little off for me.
What fish lens?
It was that first person shot when they're fighting with each other.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Just felt for me. It felt weird.
It's 90s Hollywood editing for fight scenes in general. It tends to be like kind of short edits and close-ups and whatever. It's always gonna be a problem. That's all the movies.
Then let me not.
I think some movies from that come out still.
Let me not also forget before Matt gets to it. The lighting. The lighting in the background when Robin reveals that he's not dead because our white savior has to be present.
Hero backlight.
Did I not mention false hope in there somewhere, someplace?
Is that what
that refers to?
We have not seen Gladiator 2 yet, Edward, so we won't talk about it. No,
I have.
We haven't choose that.
I will not talk about it. I will say that I liked it. I liked it nice.
Okay.
So I'm done with my bad.
Alright, so mine, let's see, where is it?
Yes. Oh, real quick. I'm sorry, Art. Before I cut you off. Strange said something earlier. He said, and I quote, Matt, everyone needs a white man to save them. That's why I'm friends with you and Nick. Double up with my white saviors.
By the way, Jared, sometimes I wonder if you actually care about me at all. It literally is that.
He's like, no.
And then Edward says my white heroes must exist.
I mean, you live in America, unfortunately. That's basically kind of your default.
Yeah.
But so my bad, honestly. Mario Elizabeth Antonio is probably the weakest parts for me, even more so than Kevin Costner. But everyone gives him shit. Mm-hmm. And it's not like because she doesn't do a good job. I think it's more or less about like the writing, or maybe it's just I just don't care for her. That's gotta be it.
Can I add on to that?
Please.
Robin Wright was the original choice to play Maid Marian.
Don't know the fuck that is.
But
Is she the chick from The Craft?
No, she is Buttercup? Princess Buttercup?
Oh, ew, no, that's worse.
Okay, yeah, so she was the original choice, but she had to drop out as she was pregnant with her first child. The part went to Mary Elizabeth Master Antonio 4 days before shooting started.
Oh, she wasn't prepared for whatever.
She was not.
I used to like Demi Moore or something like that doing it, but like, I've never really cared about her performance.
I would not have liked to see Demi Moore in this.
I feel like she could have pulled it off though.
She could have pulled it off. I just don't know if I would have.
I'm sure there was somebody else around this time period that
the 90s, like white female. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
British or American who could pull off enough of a British accent, because God knows the lead character isn't doing it. But no, she was one of the weaker points for me, despite standing next to Kevin Costner with his southern accent from Tennessee, trying to pretend like he's Robin Hood. I don't care. That's really honestly when it comes down to it. But I'll try. I'll try to care. The other part of it that was some of the bad was, I will say, the pacing. When I first saw this movie for the first time, I had watched the third act. That is when I came in on it.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's fair.
And you don't need to know shit when you jump into the third act of Robin Hood.
No, not really.
It's Robin Hood.
Yeah.
If you have any speckling of a hope of knowing what the fuck that story is about, all you need to know is Robin Hood saves Maid Marian from the sheriff, the evil sheriff of Nottingham. That's it. Everything else is ancillary. You don't really fucking need to know anything else. You just sit there and enjoy the ride, and that's what the fuck I was there for. Well, and then when I actually eventually watched the entire film, because I think the next time I watched it from like the childbirth scene or whatever. So I had even less context for what was going on with that relationship. But there was obviously stakes. But like, I did not watch the beginning of the movie until I was probably close into adulthood. And no, the first act drags. I guarantee you I probably didn't actually see it until after I'd watched Prince of Men in Tights. Mm-hmm. I probably had not watched this movie all the way through until after I watched Men in Tights, and like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense about what they were parodying, because I'd never seen that to that point. And no, the first act drags. The first act is basically leading up to him accepting his role as Robin Hood. The second act is him doing Robin Hood shit. Yeah. It's him stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. And then it ends with the poor, them fighting back, or whatever. And the second act obviously kind of drags, because not only is he stealing from the rich, giving to the poor, but now we have this conflict of them like encroaching on his homeland, and all this that leads into them doing that with regards to Maid Marian and everything else. And so like that in of itself could have been its own movie. I'm not asking for it to be, but I understand why I can feel like it dragged, because that's basically the bulk of the film. In terms of runtime, the second act takes up the majority of this 2.5-hour fucking film. The first act takes up probably maybe, I would guess, maybe a quarter of it. And the third act, while it probably doesn't take up nearly as much either, it's like 30 minutes. It goes by really quick.
30 minutes.
And that sounds about right. Yeah. But it's fun. You accept it because it's fucking fun. It goes by fast. And this is what you basically paid for anyway. So, but no, I get to the second act drag. I didn't feel like it dragged because I know that's where like the bulk of where the character development is gonna be. Right. But I get that it does drag. I just didn't feel it. The first act fucking drags.
And that's probably what it was.
No, because
probably where
you're waiting for these beats to finally resolve themselves, and it takes a while. Yeah. And then while they may be entertaining and well scripted and well done beats, the issue is you're still used to a certain number of them happening, and they're still coming. And so you're just kind of like waiting, like, okay, when we get into the good shit. And you finally get the good shit, and it's good shit.
Yeah.
But now I've gone through a bunch of it, like, and then. Like, I don't think it's anything right necessarily, but it's like, where's the action? Where are we gonna get there?
Mm-hmm.
Like with the whole, like, I'm sending my lady in waiting to go with you, and this is all good writing. This is all necessary to establish why it's important that she married the sheriff, because she was trying to save all these people, including her person who this is why they get caught and blah blah blah. Blah. I get it, and it's necessary. It's good writing, but it just takes a while. But so I will want the film for that. I can't fault it strongly, just because like I get what they're going for, and I still am able to watch it. Again, I've mentioned this before, probably before the movie started, and I'm gonna mention this again. I've watched this movie probably at least once a year on average. Maybe not exactly on average, because there's probably some years where I watch twice, and other years where I don't watch it at all. But I've watched this movie regularly over the course of the last 30 years, just because I fucking like it. It's just fun. It is honestly one of the epitome of like turn your fucking brain off films without feeling like it's insulting your intelligence. That's really it. I think that's probably the difference that me and you, Matt, are going to always have about the movies that we enjoy that are turn your brain off. Because some movies fucking insult your intelligence when they do it. These, obviously, there are things this movie fucked up on. And I get that. But they do such a good job in so many other elements of filmmaking that I'm like, alright, it's fine, whatever. Those are the main things I can say as far as the bad. I know there's others. So, is there anything you guys can say anything?
Yes. Can you do me a favor first and get that toilet paper away from her before she destroys it and leaves more a huge mess?
Something I wanted to add real quick to what you said, Ari, about like jumping in to the third act without having to know anything.
Ow!
I think that also comes in regard to our generation, and even maybe in the past generation.
We're both millennials.
Right. Well, that's what I'm getting at. Our generation and the past generation having another one or two Robin Hood stories with the '76 film.
I moved the toilet paper
into the box that she likes to sit in. That's what.
Oh, I'm sorry. She's just going for the bag right now.
And the Disney animated film.
Yes.
So we already have at that point 2 other Robin Hood stories. Our generation grew up on the Disney film, so we already know what the hell's going. We already know what the hell's going on for the most part. We just want to get to dodge, parry. Good.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's not. Sorry, did you want to say anything?
Well, I want to jump in on my bad.
Well, I do. I wanted to retort to his point, and then we can get to your bad. That's okay. Robin Hood is a fucking 600-year-old story, like at the very least.
Right.
And so it's been told over and over again, partly for a reason. One, because like it's enthralling, and the main central point is some guy stealing from the evil rich to give back to us poor schmucks. Yeah. Because the people who are reading the story are not the rich. They're not like, oh yeah, I wish I was Robin Hood. Do you? Do you really? Because you can be Robin Hood right now and just give away your wealth. Let's not go crazy. Right. No, it's everybody else who's like, I wish Robin Hood would give me shit. Right? Because we don't have shit. And it's something endearing about the idea of somebody who not only steals, because of course stealing is apparently wrong, but also does it for a purpose. He does it to like people who are downtrodden and have less than. Like, I stole, but I'm going to give it to some other guy. Like, I'm not keeping it for myself. I'm stealing for a purpose. And so, like, there's some, I'm sure there's like historical narratives, like English literary scholars have like looked into this. I'm not going to go into all that. But I will say, though, that this idea that, well, we had this one story version, and that's what we grew up with, and that's why we're more like familiar with it. Like, no, people listen to this shit for the last several hundred years. So it's not going away anytime soon, to my knowledge. It's just going to be warped, or like more twisted, not twisted, but like it's going to be morphed into the story that we need at the time. And one of the criticisms, well, I disagree with it, that they had for this movie was that it felt like it was trying to be too political with it.
I feel like Batman's a version of this.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. Yeah. The idea that they decided to make Robin Hood rich is a new twist on an existing story. Yeah. Possibly. I don't even know the original like lore of it. No, honestly, because one of them might have been like he's Lord of Loxley, and he decided it like he got tossed out of his own shit, and now he's coming back to like exact sort of like revenge. But the idea is that it's still there's other elements, like, because it was also, like, post-war, and, like, PTSD, and all this other stuff, like race relations and so forth, like social justice. There's other elements that were, like, woven into the script that, while to some extent I understand the criticism that it's convoluted by trying to throw all these other messages in, I disagree in that I feel like they were done in a way that made sense, so I'm okay with it. But I also recognize they did it because that was the story they were trying to tell for this time. Someone else trying to do Robin Hood, say Russell Crowe and his people, whoever did it in 2000, did a different thing. And someone who did it before them didn't bother any of the social justice aspects. And they may not, again, they may not do it for another, like, 20 years. Who knows? So, I remember watching Robin Hood on Disney Channel also, or just the Disney version. And I fucking loved it. Mm-hmm. But I also know that I had heard of Robin Hood before I had watched the Disney film, which was still before this movie for me.
Fair enough. And
that's probably going to be the story for a lot of kids, because this movie is still fairly adult. You have to be at least old enough to watch it and have, like, sort of social, attention span.
Yeah.
Cartoons will do that for you. And if you don't watch the older cartoons, someone's probably reading the bedtime story to you. That's what he is. It's a bedtime story.
Bedtime stories did not exist in my house, so...
Oh.
Yeah.
And then in school, then.
Alright, so, you have, granted me the fact that this is a turn your brain off movie and that it's really about what we're willing to forgive, and that it's not the greatest movie. So I'm not going to just rip into it and beat that dead horse. I'm going to make some more points, though.
Okay. Go for it.
Anytime the love interest or the romantic angle has this little chemistry and this poor performances, it's rough.
Okay.
I did not feel a connection between... It felt like brother-sister. It did not feel like love.
Okay.
And then the kiss at the end was like a mother finding her kid that she hadn't seen and watching, peck. Like, there was no passion there. It felt like watching Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman again.
Okay.
It wasn't necessarily as cringy because there was some writing there, but it did not feel like these people loved each other. By the way, Rachel Weisz was 21 at this time, and would have been a great film debut for her.
I'm glad she wasn't in this film, though. She would have been. I think she would have wasted on this film.
But she could have made it better.
She could have, but I think she would have been wasted on it. I think she would have overshadowed even Kevin Costner.
The
she wasn't in it.
Entire first act.
Was she really 21? There's no fucking way.
Yeah, she was born in 1970.
She's almost younger in like the movie.
Yeah. So,
Okay,
the first act is completely unnecessary and drags.
oh,
They go over the fact that Kazim owes a life debt to Robin Hood. Azim, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Owes a life debt to Robin Hood like 3 different times in the first act.
Mm-hmm.
This is just getting to his house.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to go over it 3 times? Was that necessary? It felt like the wolf scene was literally just to make the joke that Azim's not going to save his life in that moment.
Because it doesn't make any sense otherwise. Because if you're going to have somebody who's going to save your life and come all this way and then not actively save your life while you're fighting, like, even if you're not successful in saving your life, like, you still tried, so then that still counts.
But it's unnecessary.
It is, you're right.
And honestly, if they would have delved more into, during times of prayer, I'm not allowed to do anything, like, really showed that cultural sensitivity to the fact that when a Muslim is praying, like, that is, everything has to stop, and this is super important. They really could have dived into that, and they didn't.
Oh, no, that's probably ugly.
It was a throwaway joke instead.
Yes. Never reference it ever again after that.
Yeah, so it's like, I really just, this whole, until he becomes Robin Hood, this whole movie drags for me. Okay. And it's just like, God, can we get to the stealing already? Please.
Like, hurry up. I pay for Grand Theft Auto for a fucking reason.
As far as I'm concerned, this movie starts at the Little John fight.
Okay.
Everything else is colored bubbles. It's whatever. It sets the stage. I get that. It's too much setting the stage.
To be fair, the Little John fight is kind of like where it actually starts with the Robin Hood, like, mythos. I don't know much about him being Loxley or whatever, because we've already talked about how, like, he varies from, like, who he is in the history of it.
Okay.
But, like, the traditional story, Little John is absolutely, like, one of those canon characters.
Yeah.
And this is one of the ways they meet.
And that's my thing is, like, it feels like that's when the mythos is actually used.
Yeah.
So the first part of it, up to that point, just feels, look what we did with this. Do you see what we did with this? Do you get it? I want to make sure you get it before we move on. Do you understand?
No, that was a social justice element that I'm a slight issue with, but I get it.
And it's like, God, this is so unnecessary. I get it. Just move on. And this movie easily could have been an hour and 45 minutes for me. And it's 2.5 hours. So that's 45 minutes of just, good God, I get it, move on. Rickman's best parts don't come until after the Little John fight.
He's not in the movie most of the time, otherwise that's fine.
Exactly. You get one thing of him, and it's like it wasn't even needed.
Which part?
Why would he go to Loxley to threaten Robin's father, except to show the audience this is the bad guy? The sheriff of Nottingham would not go on that dirty errand. He'd send his mercenaries like he does to fight Robin Hood all through the movie. He makes Robin Hood come to him. He never goes after him. So you're telling me that Robin Hood's dad was more of a threat to you than Robin Hood himself because you had to personally go after him?
I'm going to take issue with that one. Here's my theory. The idea is that the whole point is that Sheriff Nottingham is trying to consolidate power in order to try and threaten the king.
Okay.
And Loxley is presumably, in...
Like, a landowner and wealthy and powerful.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and so the idea is that just like he's trying to, like, get the barons, whatever, on his side, he's been the easier with, right? Because all he has to do is bribe them, but he still has to fucking bribe them. That's kind of like the convention that he has later on, because he gets money robbed from him that he would ordinarily be bribing them with. But the idea is that he's going to give them money for them to come on his side. But probably one of the reasons why they get some on their side is not just because of the money, but the intimidation. It is the threat of violence. Like, yeah, no, I definitely am going to pay you guys to be with me, but only because it's easier than fucking killing you, which I will do too, because I have. And Loxley's father is clear evidence of that. Anyone else, that I'm gonna not only kill you, but I'm also gonna make sure that no one believes why you were actually I'm do it under obviously suspicious circumstances, and no one's gonna question it because I claimed witchcraft.
Okay. I hear your point. I still don't agree with it, but that's because I'm about to go into my next point.
Go for it.
The wasted mini boss.
Which is the newest.
I love me a good mini boss.
The cousin?
Oh yeah.
Guy.
Is it Guy or Gee? Because it's supposed to be Gee, but okay.
Whatever. Either one.
Who is that actor?
First of all, that actor is great.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
He is one of the only redeemable things about Alien Resurrection. Oh. He is also in Man in the Iron Mask.
Wait. Which movie is
No, Three Musketeers. He's
Isolation.
in Three Musketeers.
Was he in Isolation?
No, not Isolation. I apologize. Resurrection.
Oh, okay. Michael Wincott.
Yeah, Michael Wincott, guy of Gisborne.
He was also in The Crow.
He was in Nope. He was the camera guy in Nope.
Really?
Oh shit, you're right.
Yes.
He was.
Holy shit.
Yes.
No, everything he's in, I like his performance.
Okay.
He does his job very well, whatever it is.
Okay.
Three Musketeers. He plays the guy who breaks up the Three Musketeers.
Oh shit, he does.
Yes. He's good in everything he does.
I remember him from this movie and The Crow, and then and Strange Days. That one was fucking weird. But I remember him from those movies and those movies only.
I'm going to use this evidence. There's evidence here. You had a mini boss opportunity. So first of all, you have the wolf scene. Okay? Mm-hmm. He's willing to entrap and corner children.
Yeah.
Initial evil set. Yes. But you could have done more with that, because when Robin Hood gets to his home and finds his father hanging in a cage, dead, who does Duncan say did it?
Guy of Gisborne.
Yeah.
Guy.
Yeah.
Not Sheriff of Nottingham. Yeah. He says Guy does it.
Yeah.
But the only person we see at the scene is Sheriff of Nottingham. If it would have been Guy taking the mask off, speaking for the Sheriff of Nottingham, now you could build a real mini-boss here, and then he's wasted when the Sheriff of Nottingham kills him. So it doesn't feel like the red herring that it feels like they want it to be. And so he should have had a much more satisfying death the way they built him up. I would have much rather watched Morgan Freeman have a duel with him side by side as Robin Hood duels Sheriff of Nottingham, which is, yes, I know it's paint by numbers and I know it's been done before, but who doesn't want to see that? I don't want to see 2 hits between Morgan Freeman and the witch.
I want to say you're not wrong. You're absolutely right. All things you're saying, I want to point out that I know one of the scenes they had that was cut out from this film was with regards to what's his face, Sheriff Nottingham's background, which reveals that he actually is the witch's son.
Yes.
Something like that. And then like also
she follows him around the castle, and that's how she sees the future, because she's eavesdropping all the reports.
Oh, that part I didn't hear about.
And then when he comes to her, she's like, "Oh yeah, I know this is going on."
Yeah, no, I didn't hear that part. So that she actually like was his mother and then like killed his parents and took them back or whatever, or something like that. But the other one was that described that he's like always like yelling at and threatening or something. At some point, he actually does cut his tongue out. But then, like, it's made inconsistent later on, where they're like, when Robin Hood is like, where
interrogating him.
They're interrogating him, and he's able to talk. So it was an editing inconsistency, so they went and take that part out. I feel like there's other elements, like, again, this movie was shot in like 10 weeks, which is amazing given the time frame and as well as the amount of money they ended up making. But the idea is that they cut a bunch of shit out, and it makes sense that they would have started thinking that Guy Gisborne was like the mini boss leading up to the sheriff, and then they ran into like editing or timing issues, and like, all right, we gotta cut some shit, and they decided to show the scene with Alan Rickman and the father, and they reshot it basically to provide that element, because it's one of the only shots that's done at night.
Yeah.
Not to mention the lighting. I mean, I don't know if it's because there's torches around Alan Rickman, but from my perspective, the lighting and the shot when it zoomed on Alan Rickman looked a lot better or different than the shot of Lord Loxley.
Well, it's probably the element of the angle where they're at,
and it could have been that too, but it also to me felt like it was added in.
It might have been. It very well could have been though, because you don't see them in the same establishment.
No, you don't.
And that whole scene is probably one of the reasons why that first act feels like it drags, because like shit like that feels like, okay, you guys are just throwing shit in. You guys, it's something you guys are trying to do, didn't work, and you did the best you could on the fly. Now that said, I've seen worse.
No.
I've seen fucking worse. But that doesn't mean that this is good.
No, I get that, but it still deserves to be in the back.
No,
because now while you're going, and you make good points. Don't get me wrong, and studio is definitely a reason for a movie to be bad.
Yes.
But I'm just like picturing in my head this scene of, you know, the entire third act still happens, but then there's this moment where Robin Hood sees Guy of Gisborne who killed his father, and there's 20 guys in between him and Guy. And he starts fighting his way through it. And he's not winning, like, definitively against all 20 guys. There's a couple hits he gets, so he's obviously getting worn down. And then by the time he gets the guy, he's tired. He just got beat up by 20 guys. And he starts fighting Guy, and he's actually kind of winning. And then Guy has to do something dirty to get the upper hand. Gets Robin Hood on the ground. He's about to kill him, and he raises his blade and brings it down. And that's when Morgan Freeman parries the blade and goes, "I will fulfill my vow now." And then they get into their due while Robin runs for the sheriff.
I think
that's so much better than what I got.
I think the problem is that with the movie that they were trying to establish was, like, we still have this evil sheriff who is the tyrannical ruler or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, he's the big bad. And when you do it that way, you are dividing kind of your intentions. Are we doing revenge against Guy because he's the one who actually killed your father? Or are we trying to fight for freedom, masquerading as, like, you know, monarchy, providing, like, all of our resources and stuff like that?
I can see your point.
And so, like, the idea is, like, we
but
have
on
to...
a 2.5-hour epic, you have to kind of divide some stuff.
And I think what they did... Well, no, I disagree. I think, obviously, you have to, like, you have to, like, you know, pick your battles. You have to, like, be able to put your, like, narrative together and make it seem like it makes sense. That's when movies tend to get convoluted, when you're dividing your
attention
too much. No, I disagree.
Check.
You have to, like, you know, pick your battles.
She's fucking around me.
Narrative together and make it seem like it makes sense. That's when movies tend to get convoluted.
All right, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think the headset is getting disconnected, but not the mic.
Okay, well, yeah, she's got to stay over here. All right, sorry. Anyway,
It's your baby.
So no, you have a good point, but those are two bads I really wanted to point out. When your two like main focuses of the story are the weaker points, and a villain who just doesn't live up to the potential, that's going to hurt the movie.
Yeah.
So those are, I'm gonna stick with those as my bad because I've made comments and you guys have made comments on kind of the universal bads, the accents, the unnecessary slow-mo. I gotta talk about that a little bit. However, the shot with the fire behind him, the iconic VHS cover shot,
yes,
is still awesome.
Yes. Money shot.
It's still awesome.
I will say though, I think one of the main purposes.
Okay.
I think one of the main purposes of killing Guy halfway through the film is my theory.
Shift of evil.
Not only just to shift the evil, it's and maybe it's the same thing basically. It is specifically to establish the sheriff as irredeemably evil. Yeah. He kills his own cousin for failure.
Yeah.
And so, like, we get that Guy is a bad guy. We know this. He's awful. And we understand that the sheriff is evil and awful. But apparently the sheriff is more evil because he kills his own family member because of whatever reason. He fails him, basically. Like, you've blended for the last time, henchman, sort of thing. Like, and that establishes him as the main big bad.
I get that. I do. I don't think it hits as much. But another thing is the way Alan Rickman portrayed the third act. Because you talk about irredeemably evil. When I think of irredeemably evil, I think of Kevin Spacey in Seven.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. I think of Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah.
These are irredeemably evil.
Yeah.
The way Alan Rickman plays this guy,
doesn't mean they're redeemable.
That's different. Like, how I gotta be careful how I phrase this because it's gonna come out weird. How do you make an attempted sexual assault almost comical?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this, I should be uncomfortable here. And it's more funny.
It's 90s, and this is what's going to our ugly.
Yeah, and the way they're shooting it, it's like this is a comedy
But also,
shot.
it's
like when he jumps up and sprints her legs. That is a comedy shot.
Because it is the 90s, and this is what's going to get into our...
Okay, that's fair. Okay, so I'll leave that alone for now. Wait. Because there is also some inconsistency because this is my last fact. Alan Rickman sits there and says, I'm going to have one thing pure. We're going to be properly wedded first, and then you're going to sexually assault her. Like, so you don't need it to be pure. So why did we have to have the marriage part at all? Cut that as well. You just saved yourself another minute or two.
Because that's the whole point, is that his idea is warped. Yeah. His whole
that's rough.
No, okay. He's been raised by a witch.
Okay, no, so it's still rough.
He looks at is warped. That's the whole point. That doesn't bother me. It's obvious that he's fucking twisted.
All right.
The issue is that he doesn't necessarily outwardly appear that way because he's not as bad as Mortiana, but he's clear. Cancel Christmas! Who the fuck calls on Christmas?
That was an improv.
I'm glad for it. But the idea is that he's twisted, but he's still, like, seems normal-ish up to a point.
Yeah.
Compared to her, because obviously Morgan Freeman has never encountered this one before. Looks at the next one and like, oh shit, you're weird. Yeah, you're obviously a witch. It's like, all right. But so
let's get to our ugly.
My ugly is this weird mix of feminism and then also like damsel in distress, blah blah blah, 90s, etc. etc. Like,
you may be a strong woman, but you still need a man.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
No, yeah. It's a weird take.
Star Wars feminism.
I appreciated, and I don't know if I should, but I appreciated Fanny's character because she is not even working class. She's a serf. She's a peasant. Right?
And that's the strong woman character.
She's birthed 8 babies. She's not let one of them die, is she?
Yeah.
Like, and you almost see her die in childbirth for every one of them in the world, which is a very common thing at that time.
Yeah.
That was kind of, I think, like, one of the reasons why they bring it in there, I don't know whether necessarily needed to have it in it, but I'm appreciative.
That's one of those scenes I would keep. I wouldn't cut that scene.
No, because it's incredibly dangerous to have children this time. And the fact that at the same time, they're getting sliced here and there, and like stabbed or whatever. Like, motherfuckers, y'all don't have soap. You guys know this shit's gonna get infected, right? Yeah. You're gonna die from that almost more than you are from childbirth.
Yeah.
Like, this shit is super, like, living now is dangerous. But for a woman, this is the most dangerous thing you can possibly do. Yeah. Is have children. And you are doing it every time you have kids. And you had 9 of those motherfuckers. Yeah. And so, like, that shit, this is like telling good. It's not. It is that she is the peasant woman in that trope of, I can burn all the babies and I'm still working hard and, like, I'm going to fight or whatever. I'm just as good as the man, which is great. I love that there's an equality there. But she is different than the rich white lady who has to be saved all the time.
Yep.
And granted, it's her knife that the sheriff gave her that ends up killing him. But it's all
that moment's really cool, though, when Alan Rickman pulls out the knife and realizes.
But it's also very much there's a fragility privilege thing in there that I can't get into right now. No. And so, but it's the establishment of, like, that's being kind of the natural order of things that's bothersome. Mm. There's other things I can think of that were ugly. One of them was the ones you were just talking about a second ago with regards to, what was it? Just before your.
It was the prayer, the interrupting prayer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's one.
Sexual assault.
Sexual assault was that too. Yeah. Sexual assault being almost funny and, like, okay.
The way they shot it, the way they blocked it.
The way it was played.
That's what I want to make clear. There was no jokes during the scene. It's just the way it was shot and the actual blocking of the scene.
Yes.
Felt like a Three Stooges.
It was not. It is something that was serious that was made into almost a joke because he's gonna win. Robin Hood's gonna win.
Yes.
There's almost no stakes in this. We get that. But the idea that they put that in there does feel gross.
Yeah.
It feels unnecessary. I understand why the character felt the need to do that. But, like...
you literally could have just been trying to run and then ran out of room and Robin Hood finally catches up to you and you start fighting.
Yeah.
Like any other fucking movie.
Why are we throwing this in here? Oh, it's not the Whiplash. I can't have it. The Ralph Factor. It's the same idea.
He even said you can't do it with all this racket.
And he still tried it anyway.
Yeah, like...
It's all for a joke.
It's... then he says I can't do this with all this racket. What, rape her?
Yes. Exactly, yes. Can't do that.
So it's... Yeah, no, that whole scene is like... This is weird.
No, the use of the... not muezzin, but the prayer to Mecca that happens, and it being used almost as a punchline because we never reference it any other time after that. That's a little hairy.
I do want to point out though the joke beforehand when Kevin Costner is ribbing him about the woman that he loves, and he asks where East is, and he says, "Give me her name first." That part I'm fine with though.
No, I'm fine with it.
Because that's not necessarily insensitivity to the religion. That's a guy using leverage that he has on another guy to get the tea. No. That is 100% a conversation that would happen. I actually really enjoy that part. I want to make sure.
No, it was the idea that he was willing to let this guy. He came in for a life debt to almost die because he had to pray. And while that might also be necessarily possible that happens too, it just still felt like you specifically put that part in this movie because everything that goes in the movie is intentional.
Yeah.
Specifically for a joke, and also to elaborate on exactly I didn't know that. You have to read that. But the idea is that I'm putting it in there for the purpose of having Robin have to, like, fight for his life, even though this guy who swore to protect him is standing right next to him. Mm-hmm. And I constantly put him in these, like, situations where Robin's always in danger because it's still an action-adventure movie. Yet you have somebody who was sworn to protect him. The final shot of him killing the witch to protect him at the last minute because we can't have him do it any other time in the previous 2 almost 3-hour runtime, despite the constant danger this character is either in or puts himself in. So it's like you're doing this for a joke.
Yeah.
So what were the straight set?
Straight said, I'm going to need someone to clip out Matt saying, do what? Rape her? So I can use that out of context out of the wrestling series.
Yes. That's the majority of the ugly.
90s problematicness.
Very much that, yes. I will asterisk. I still enjoy the scene. Well, I guess it's probably there to kind of make us all feel better about race relations. Like this, is.
Did God pay you?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's heartwarming. It's fucking heartwarming. That whole scene is very heartwarming.
We're searching.
I will give you that. Okay. You were ugly, Juice.
Honestly, I didn't really have any, but I agree with what you said.
Yeah, I'm just sticking with the sexual assault scene. That was very weird, and I was sitting here like, this is totally unnecessary. You could have done this any other way. Yes. So I'm just sticking with that. So, the great.
I said my great earlier.
So did you,
if you want me to repeat it, yes. I will. It was Robin's speech leading into the training montage.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Then we take it back. And not even like Bill Pullman, like Independence Day. Like no, that just blasé. Then you take it back. Like,
what are you, stupid?
Woo! That gets you riled up. It's good.
That's good shit.
And then we do a training montage.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love the training montage?
Right. All they needed was Eye of the Tiger, and we're good.
Need a montage. Oh, sorry. No, my great is Alan Rickman, also the third act. And I have a hard time separating the two because Alan Rickman is like the great threat of the fucking movie. The third act is my great because, again, the first time I watched the movie was during the third act. And then also the third act is fine by itself as a movie. If you just sat that person at that half an hour out by itself, you wouldn't need to know anything else. Like, what is this? It's Robin Hood. You know what about Robin Hood to be able to figure out the rest of it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And you will enjoy it.
My great...
I will point out real quick. Well, I'm sorry. With the added caveat of, I didn't notice it until this watch through, where Robin is fighting, we're stabbing, we're making our way through the corridor, we're killing henchmen. Stops and sees
there's a statue.
The statue with the fucking scar that someone drew. Like, did someone draw a scar? Oh, okay. All right, we're stabbing. Like, moves on.
It's a nice little touch to when Alan Rickman saw that somebody had drawn the scar on him and he tried to wipe it off.
I also wonder, because it's all one long take down the hallway.
Yeah.
I wonder if Kevin Costner knew about it and then like Rich saw it, or it was like added in his direction. Like, you need to stop and do this.
It felt like it was natural.
It felt natural.
It felt very natural.
Like he just knows it that one time and realized it. Like, oh, the fuck. Oh, okay. We're still going.
Oh, fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my grade is a two-way tie.
Okay.
Because I can't pick one. One is Friar Tuck killing the twisted cardiologist. Oh, let me help you pack. You're going to need all this gold. Oh, and here's 30 pieces of silver to pay the devil on your way to hell. And throws him out the goddamn window. Fucking great. And then I made fun of it while we were watching it, but it was so fucking good. When Robin Hood first cuts Sheriff of Nottingham, that's primal scream, all the way to Then It Begins. Like, I'm gonna cut your heart out with that spoon. That whole scene is so much fun. And it really, like, that, and honestly, that's kind of one of the kickoffs of the second act. So it's like,
it's the end of the
here we go. Now I'm really enjoying this now.
Where he becomes Robin Hood because, like, he's like 100 pieces of gold.
Is that all?
Yeah, which has very much you vibes, by the fucking way.
Oh, and by the way, you actually see them gradually up his thing to 25,000.
Well, no, at some point he's like, I heard the sheriff has your bounty at 500, and you see Robin like, that's
not quite there yet.
That's where I thought it would be.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So those two scenes right there are kind of worth sitting through the movie on its own.
There's a bunch of scenes worth sitting through the movie, but I get it. I think one of the other things that probably adhered, like that endeared this movie to me when I initially started watching it, like all the way through, was tree houses. It was a self-sufficiency. The idea of being like, just live off of
They're preppers. That's why you love it.
I was like, still loving. Let's figure this out.
What will we do for food? We'll feed up the forest.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we'll live off the grid. That's what we'll do. Fuck capitalism. We're just gonna go ahead and kill and farm our own shit.
That's right.
Like, we don't need anything else but society.
We have trees. We have wood. We have wood for weapons and housing.
What is the forest that provide us?
Exactly.
What if we were a kid? They're taking the right stuff too. By God, we take it back. Like, how do you not? Like, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's inspiring, but I think that's part of what is watching it, endearing it.
Yeah.
And watching it as a child, the idea of moving off somewhere and running off and living in the forest and tree houses and living sustainably. I didn't know what that meant, but the idea of like I can just do this on my own and live in a tree house, like this big draw for me, was appealing. And I think that's part of the appeal, honestly, is people of the earth. I saw the earth when I'm like people of like just doing what they needed to survive and making it work.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I think is so endearing about this film, aside from swashbuckling and action adventure and Alan Rickman and Morgan Freeman. Like, honestly, those are big parts. But, like, I think it's also this drive that all of us have of, like, realizing, like, there's this overwhelming oppression that goes with being a part of society that you don't always get to fight back against. And here are people who have less than whatever you think you have managing to do it. And for noble reasons, and not necessarily more noble than what we have, but seemingly just to be able to exist. And I feel like that's an element that transcends centuries. That's why that story is so prolific. So that's all I got.
All right. So
out of 10.
Out of 10.
Oh, 7.5.
I was gonna say 7.5.
I'm at 6.5.
So
right.
What does that put us at?
14, 21.5, so
15.
about 7.25.
Okay, so
So about where
IMDb is again.
audience score is 7.2, so we're about there.
Yeah.
All
right, so
but
own it, rent it, stream it, don't bother.
Own it.
Well, you decided to own it.
I'll go rent it.
I will go stream and or rent.
If you're like me and you're gonna watch this movie multiple times over the course of your lifetime, then absolutely.
Yeah, any movie.
I give everyone who's a white male savior out of 10. So what's that, like 8, 11? Well,
Street has the best ratings.
But no, I feel like if you're gonna watch this movie more than once, even more than twice in your lifetime, you may as well just own it. Because, like, it's just not worth it otherwise.
And there are times where you can just throw it on.
And you just throw it on. It's a very easy turn your brain off fucking movie, put it on in the background and let it play.
And then first act, you can get other stuff done while you're waiting for the movie to actually start.
You get into the fucking childbirth scene or, like, the montage or whatever, and you're probably sucked in, and then you just sit down and just enjoy it.
Once this movie gets into the Robin Hood shit, then you can lock in.
Yeah.
But while you're in the Robin of Locksley shit,
you can jump in for Cut Your Heart with a Spoon, and then you can jump back out for the Maid Marian shit with the mirror ass, and you can jump back in for the third act.
Yeah. So it's Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Cut out the love story. And we got a really good movie.
God, you're absolutely. Yeah, Charlie, I still feel like you need the intro scene.
But I'm there.
You're not entirely wrong.
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith or Attack of the Clones?
Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, fair enough.
Because Revenge of the Sith is still like redeemable, and this movie is redeemable. Attack of the Clones is not redeemable. It's terrible.
Fair enough. I believe,
except for Yoda. Yoda fighting at the end.
Yeah,
I have to charge my phone.
Oh, is it your pick?
It's my pick.
It is her pick.
Okay.
So give me a second.
So go ahead and charge that up real quick so you can make your pick.
In the meanwhile, we will make references to Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yes.
Because
unlike other Robin Hoods, he can speak with a British accent.
Oh my God. So there was a reason I cackled at the end of the movie when Sean Connery showed up, and that's because when Patrick Stewart shows up, he's speaking in a Scottish accent, and I fucking love it.
Oh wow.
And like I didn't think about it.
I don't think I've ever seen Men in Tights all the way through.
Okay, that's
I've seen bits and pieces.
That's a personal thing. I have that movie. I don't have that movie down to a T, but I know the Sherwood Forest rap for the most part.
Shit.
So another interesting thing that I noticed that caught my attention was that in this movie there is no Prince John.
No.
Yeah.
Prince John is not a character in this movie.
No, and he is a staple in most of the Robin Hood lore.
Well, yeah, exactly. Whereas
he's actually the villain.
Yeah.
Sheriff of Nottingham is the mini boss.
Exactly.
Yes.
And in Men in Tights, Prince John is technically he's not even the mini boss. He's just he's the background.
What's his name? He did something on HBO for a long time.
Is the locksmith scene with her chastity belt?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, that was a big thing in Prince of Thieves, was that she had the iron undergarments, and I believe they were oh god, they did have a brand. I do remember that they had a brand, which is funny as hell. But yeah, no, Prince John was played by a famous comedian in Men in Tights. I don't remember who it was.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, though, yeah.
Or something, I can't remember his last name.
And the Sheriff of Nottingham is still the sheriff, but he's the guy character from the beginning to the third act.
Yeah.
And
then, Phyllis, she did, Tracy
Ullman played the witch, but she played the witch, but the witch was called Latrine.
Yeah. And so I mentioned this again. We tried watching Men in Tights during COVID, like 2021 or whatever, 22 or something like that, when we were both sick, and it just did not hit as well. Like the anti-gay and like kind of racist jokes that they were utilizing.
Well, Mel Brooks.
And I get that, but like it was. And that being said, because he's done other shit that I've not enjoyed. Did he do Dracula, or was it somebody else?
He did Dracula, Dead and Loving It.
I fucking hate that movie.
I love that.
I could have walked out of that theater if I paid to watch the movie, so I sat through it, and I've never, ever tried again.
But that's the thing, everyone has a different favorite Mel Brooks film. I know you're a Spaceballs fan.
Yes. Men in Tights.
You're Men in Tights. I'm the producers.
And Blazing Saddles is a better movie than I probably give it credit for.
Yeah.
Mostly because I think it's also a time frame sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So at that time, watching that movie would have been much more controversial than watching it like 30 years later or 20 years later, when you're used to seeing some of the stuff they were talking about. That would have never ever happened in movies, let alone a parody, in just the mainstream. So like you're kind of used to it at that point. I understand why this is funny. Because this shit didn't used to ever happen.
No, he paved the way for a lot of political commentary and satire.
But by the time he gets to the Men in Tights, some of that stuff is becoming more accepted. Yeah. And now it feels like it's like, oh, more tongue-in-cheek, or we're playing on sort of like expectations and blah, blah, blah. Like, but watching it 20 years later, it feels incredibly cringy.
Yeah.
And so like, this isn't as funny as I thought it was when I was 13 when it first came out.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to watch it. In the meantime, I've watched Prince of Thieves multiple times. And while it's cringy for its own reasons, because it definitely fucking is, it's also less cringy for those reasons. And so I just kind of like, all right, I'm just going to watch this period piece and turn my brain off for the next hour and 2.5 hours. So, and pretend this is the actual Middle Ages when I know the Middle Ages looked a lot uglier than this.
Is your phone charged enough to at least spin the wheel?
I don't know. It's doing something weird. It's not even like, nope, not yet. So I need to find my actual charger.
You need to get a block, yeah.
No, I don't know. I have it. What did I do with it? So what had happened was we did not stream for the last couple of days because we were doing asbestos removal in the house.
Maybe.
We were doing tile removal in the basement for stuff that was suspected as asbestos-containing materials or ACMs, and I did not feel comfortable being in the house while Matt was doing it, so I left.
Yeah.
And as such, I took with me my phone charger, which I put it in my computer bag. Let's see. But basically, my entire world is turned upside down because I don't know where any of my shit is. I think it should be in here though. Maybe. But so I don't have a charge. Oh, there it is. All right, awesome. So this should take a little bit less time because this is like the supercharger. But yeah. So Give me a second. I should have charged this earlier and I completely forgot.
Do we want to talk about some movies like in the future that we're looking forward to for our wheels?
We saw recently too, because apparently Juice went to go see Gladiator 2.
Mm-hmm.
We went to go see fucking
Red One. You guys want to go see Red One? Yeah. I am going to see Moana 2 tomorrow.
Ooh.
So that should be fun.
I'm sure it will be.
Still love the first movie. Speaking of Moana, I think it's way too soon for there to be a fucking live action version of it. I'm sorry. That's a curse.
Oh yeah, no.
But the original movie is only 8 years old at this point.
Yeah.
Why in God's name are we doing a live action version so soon? And I know the answer is because Dwayne The Rock Johnson wants to make money.
No, it's not just Dwayne The Rock Johnson making money. Because capitalism, sweetheart.
And Red One was actually kind of another good turn your brain off. And kind of enjoy it.
It fucking was.
It was a cash grab, but I actually was able to sit through it, comprehend it, and enjoy it.
Fair enough. The live action Lilo and Stitch is coming out in.
That one I get, and that one I'm kind of interested in.
That's a 23-year-old movie at this point.
And I like that they're doing the exact same advertisement strategy that they did for the last one. Like the last poster I saw of it was Stitch eating one of the coconut men from Moana 2.
Yeah.
And, like, Stitch will do whatever the hell he wants. Because the whole ad campaign when he first came out was him interrupting other advertisements.
Other Disney movies.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about that until I recently saw a clip. I was
like, because you had the one of Rafiki, like, lifting Simba, and it's sinking in his hand.
I will say that I'm starting to get tired of Disney remakes.
Yeah, no, I get that.
No, I agree. My favorite Disney remake
Jungle Book
is the Jungle Book. Yes,
they did that very well.
I have not seen Pete's Dragon. I've never seen the original version of it or the live action, so that's something I may have to do at some point. I recently saw. So when I went to go see Wicked. There is a trailer for the live-action version of How to Train Your Dragon, which I have never seen. I tried watching it at the shop, but I was busy. It looks it looks pretty good from what I've seen so far. Toothless looks like Toothless, so that's good. And Gerard Butler does come back to play the father.
Oh, that's cool. I've never seen How to Train Your Dragon.
I've never seen all of it.
That's something we may have to add.
Yeah, I've never seen any of them.
Yeah,
I've heard they're good, but I've just never sat down and watched them. So,
and the reason it's kind of come up is because recently I started. There is a pianist on Instagram that I saw like a while back where he would do like little clips of like him doing intros for weddings, and I was like, "What is HTTYD?" I'm like, "What the hell?" It's like, "Oh, now I see." So yeah, so that kind of caught my attention.
Well, I was just about to say something else.
Christ, fucking that! I'll be.
To answer your question, Strange. We will not be doing a holiday Christmas month. We have very specific months that we do. Spooky month is a thing that we've done for 10 years now.
Yeah,
something like that.
Where's the other one?
And the other one we do is February, which is Black History and Oscar.
Yes.
Yeah, Black History and Oscar winners. So that will be the 2 months that we're doing themes.
Oh, so we are doing a theme for February.
Absolutely.
Yes, we always have. So we'll just keep that going.
Now I have to make a Black History list.
Well,
slash Academy Award winners.
There's a specific criteria for it. We can go over after.
Yeah,
that's fine. Okay, so Ari, are you ready yet?
Yeah, I'm waiting for all the goddamn notifications that are still showing up to shut the fuck up. But yes, in a second. I just gotta make sure also I get everything that's not already been done off a figure. Which I need to probably.
For anyone else who's wondering, Newt is thriving.
No one's wondering. We know she is.
Or what do we call her on here?
Milkshake.
Milkshake is thriving.
Yeah, she brings all the boys to the yard.
I will actually add Black Klansman to my list, Strange, because I have not seen it yet.
Yes. All right. I think it's good. I feel like I need to update this a little bit more, but I don't know what the original update is, so we're just gonna go with it, and whatever happens, happens.
All right.
All right. So
is your audio on?
Turn it up now. Yes.
All right.
So, here we go.
That being said, Let's spin the wheel.
Wheel of morality, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the lesson that we should learn.
Her wheel looks bigger.
Oh, interesting.
All right, so Ari, what are we watching next
almost was Inherit the Wind, which I'm looking forward to seeing at some point.
Never seen
it. Almost was JFK, another
oh my god,
Kevin Costner movie.
And 4-hour song.
Instead, we are being treated to the original 1954 Gold Digger.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's interesting.
All right. So Godzilla.
Yeah.
1954, the original. That's interesting.
We watched that movie in the last year, and that movie is all of the fucked. It is not what I was expecting.
Did not expect that to be on your wheel.
No, of course it was. Yeah. That's like the only one besides -1, but that's already been shown, so I can't do it again. But so -1, and then now Godzilla. With the original one. Where my glasses go?
All right.
How much I taking it off now?
All right, so make sure you tune in next week. Next Wednesday, we will be aiming for that.
Yep.
Gojira. We will check that out, which should be a lot of fun.
That should be a good time, especially like.
Maybe this is the perfect time for me to watch -1.
Probably, yeah.
It probably is. I mean, you don't have to if you don't want to.
But we would recommend it because it is probably one of the higher ranked movies on.
No, I mean, it's okay. And the whole reason he hasn't watched it, guys, is because it's been overhyped.
Right.
Let's keep that. It's average. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
It's okay. Watch a goddamn movie.
I have so many good movies on my wheel.
So do I. I'm super excited for a lot of them.
Too.
But all right. So yeah, we're gonna call it there. Like, share, subscribe. It's getting late. We ran kind of long this time. So on top of the fact that it was a longer movie. So.
It was.
But thanks for hanging out with us, sticking with us, guys. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Overall, about a 7 out of 10, 7.2.
7.2 is important. Yes.
For Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, definitely check it out. I think a lot of people would just enjoy the sit through.
Yeah. I agree.
But so next week, Godzilla. We love you. Like, share, subscribe. For No Cow Entertainment. This is Matt.
This is Ariane.
This is Juice.
We're out.
With a spoon.
But why a spoon, my lord?
Because it's dull.
It'll hurt more.